All right. Well, Russian President Vladimir Putin says the West is on a collision course with collapsed and is really on a suicide mission. Putin called European leaders piglets today. He didn't hold back. And he said they are on a course for collapse. And honestly, looking at what we've just seen in the last 24 hours, it's hard to argue with him at all. It's actually madness what is happening right now. Over the past few hours alone, we've seen a series of developments that make one thing painfully clear. Western leaders are actively trying to manufacture consent for war with Russia that their own people absolutely do not want, of course, and they cannot afford, and they absolutely will lose. I mean, maybe that's the biggest part of the story. They'll be annihilated. But okay, go for it. Europe. Over the past few hours alone, we've seen a series of developments that are really troubling. Look at Germany this morning. That country is collapsing. Volkswagen closing its operations there in Germany after 88 years. I mean, the iconic German brand, because of the economy, energy costs. Sorry, you're closing up shop. Western leaders aren't even trying to hide it anymore. Let's start in Washington. Nutbag neocon Lindsey Graham has just introduced a new bill in the U.S. Senate to officially label Russia a state sponsor of terrorism. Okay. So instead of labeling Ukraine a state sponsor of terror, which they are, verifiably so, the state of Ukraine literally pays and supports Azov terrorists to go to apartment complexes in Ukraine that they've identified, and they rape young girls and they shoot other people in the head. We have the receipts.
That's crazy.
So you want to label Russia a state sponsor of terror? Okay.
We're just throwing these words around now. There's terrorists inside the U.S. There's terrorists outside that. Like, everyone's a terrorist. Now that Nazi doesn't work anymore, now you're a terrorist.
Now we're okay to support this, yeah.
Right. And the actual terrorists are not terrorists.
So understand what this means. This designation isn't symbolic. It's a legal trigger, and as legal experts, again, explain, who are much smarter than me, I mean, I'm kind of an idiot, they say that once you slap the label on a nuclear-armed superpower, then you're not creating space for negotiations. You're literally closing off every off-ramp. Sorry, they're a state sponsor of terror. We can't negotiate with terrorists. You're escalating sanctions, which they're planning to do. You're opening the door for direct military confrontation and basically daring the situation to spiral completely out of control. And Lindsey Graham knows this, by the way. This is the same guy who's been openly calling for regime change in Moscow, joking about assassinating President Putin, joking about the best money he's ever spent is going to kill Russians. Best money we ever spent. Okay. And treating World War III like it's some kind of game that he plays with his gay friends in Washington, D.C. And this morning, Tucker Carlson kind of nailed it perfectly when he was asked by our friend Judge Knapp about acting independently. And he said he's not acting independently. He's being used as a tool, used by the military-industrial complex as a tool. He's being used by foreign interests as a tool, used by people who will benefit from chaos while ordinary Americans pay the price. Watch.
To label Russia as a state sponsor of terrorism. How preposterous, absurd, counterproductive is that?
I mean, it's basically an effort to thwart the United States. It's self-harm. I think it's clearly intentional. I have always liked Lindsey Graham. I always will like Lindsey Graham because he's just so charming and funny. But I don't know. I can't tell. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that he doesn't know he's being used as an instrument of the destruction of the United States. But he is, whether he knows it or not.
Yeah,
and so, of course,
right.
Geopolitically.
So he's right. So now let's talk about Britain, because they are pushing the West to war faster than just about anyone else. Former UK Prime Minister and certifiable moron Boris Johnson is now openly calling for young British men and women to enlist so they can prepare to fight Russia. Watch.
Sir, Lance Corporal Johnson reporting for duty and responding to the appeal from General Sanders for a citizen army and encouraging young people across the country to think of the attractions, advantages of some kind of military training or service. Because at the moment they think it's either uncool or unethical, or perhaps they're not following General Sanders, they're following Colonel Sanders.
Okay.
It's not funny. actually
He's
quite
hilarious.
stupid.
Yeah, it's like I don't know.
It's not a joke.
Anyway, think about how insane that is. I mean, this isn't 1940. Russia is not marching on London. They have no intention of attacking Britain or Europe. There are no Russian tanks heading for Paris or Berlin. Putin said we have no intention of doing anything of the sort, and he laughed about it. Last week, he said, you guys can't even stop rubber boats filled with illegals who come into your country to rape your women and children. You can't stop anything. So, okay. But yeah, we got to go to war with them. And just a few minutes ago, Chancellor of Germany, Friedrich Merz, saying the exact same thing. We need to mobilize, basically conscript, build up our army in order to face Russia. Watch.
Und wenn es uns nicht gelingt, die Zahlen, die wir brauchen für die Aufwuchsfähigkeit der Bundeswehr jetzt schnell zu erreichen, so wie wir es gemeinsam miteinander verabredet haben, dann werden wir nicht umhin kommen, auch über eine verpflichtende Dienstzeit bei der Bundeswehr zu sprechen. Wir versuchen es auf der Basis von Freiwilligkeit und Attraktivität. Es ist meine Meinung, dass wir das tun sollten, aber wir müssen die Option offen halten, es gegebenenfalls auch mit einer Wehrpflicht zu verbinden.
Yeah.
Compulsory,
So, compulsory.
That sounds like a draft.
That's
To me,
It's
Clayton.
exactly what it is. Compulsory. So we're going to try to build up our ranks, voluntarily. But if we can't do that to face Russia, then we'll make it compulsory. This is Germany, by the way, what I just mentioned, Volkswagen closing down, energy crisis, a country that is in a recession, arguably heading to a depression. But okay, your biggest concern is Russia. How about taking care of the German people? There's an idea. That's a novel approach. So you guys have heard of the bearskin hoodie, right? It's my favorite hoodie. It's the one I'm wearing right now with the removable patches on the side. This thing is built like a tank. This thing is incredibly warm when I walk the dog. It just turned really cold. We got a big cold front that came down from Wyoming. So it's a perfect season to wear your hoodie. And Bearskin makes these fantastic hoodies that are built like a tank with 340 GSM microfleece, 10 pockets, a clean, rugged fit that looks awesome. And right now is the best time to grab it because you get 60% off. Right now, they're running a deal for our viewers, 60% off. This is a perfect gift for the upcoming holidays. And this thing looks awesome. It feels great. It zips right into the heavy rainstorm jacket also. So if you're out, it's going to pour down rain, you slide the shell right over the top of it, and the Velcro, just perfect. It just works. It's 100% waterproof when you need it. So if it turns wet, cold, windy, you're not scrambling last minute. Get something for the man in your life. Get him a bearskin hoodie for Christmas. This is the last hoodie that he will ever need. And the best part, Bearskin is running their biggest deal of the year, 60% off right now for Christmas with extended return policy. If it doesn't fit right or some other issue, you can return it. And free U.S. shipping from their Kentucky warehouse. So here's how to get yours. Text the word redacted to 36912. That's redacted to 36912. And by the way, when you shop at Bearskin, you're not just giving a killer gift, you're also supporting the fallen outdoors and the Hope for the Warriors Veterans Program this Christmas. Don't give him another stocking filler. Get him a bearskin hoodie. He will love it. These idiots are dusting off World War II style rhetoric, dragging out Churchill cosplay, telling young people to get ready to die for what exactly? NATO BlackRock investments in Ukraine? What exactly are you asking these people to die for? But it gets worse because the chief of UK's air staff, Richard Knighton, actually went on the record saying British families must be prepared right now to sacrifice their sons and daughters for war with Russia.
Sons and daughters, colleagues, veterans will all have a part to play, to build, to serve, and if necessary, to fight. And more families will know what sacrifice for our nation means. That's why it's so important that we do explain the changing threat and the need to stay ahead of it. As I've said, I'm clear that the country's first line of defence is the armed forces. We need to be ready to deter, fight and win today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
The
Can I
SDR
just
has
say
given
that
us-
sounds a lot like putting the cart before the horse. He's saying they need to be ready to die and they don't understand why, so we need to make sure that they understand why they need to be ready to die. Historically speaking, when we hear these heroic stories about people who laid down their lives for the dream that was Rome, they know what they're doing. They have an idea. They're saying, you're not on board yet. listen to our propaganda, and you'll be ready to lay down their life.
Well, as David Icke likes to point out, he talks about the idea of you got to create the problem, right? So and you have to sell it to people,
right?
So you need to create the problem first, and that's exactly what we're trying to do here. Like, Russia's the problem. Never mind the fact that he has said this new era of threat. What new era of threat? Like, where are they manufacturing this from?
Right.
Because if you actually listen to Russia, do you think that Russia wants to take care of an island of Brits? Like, really? Like, you think that that's what Russia's into? They want to invade and take over England?
Right.
And they're not selling anything. Like, they're not coming out and saying this is the clear threat. This is the danger. This is what we see. It's all on like, trust us, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's all suppressed.
You need more than that.
And fight for what? It's not a free country. It's a country that hates most of their own citizens. What are they going to fight for? What is the dream here that they're offering so that your children can live free? Well, they don't. They don't now. So what would you fight for the UK for? I
guess in the UK, you get the right to have your daughters like raped in a park. Like, that's what you're fighting for.
The right
in the
to
UK?
be arrested for winking at a cop.
The right to be arrested for waving the British flag. I mean, the right to
praying silently
at an abortion clinic. Like,
singing a Christian hymn in the street.
Like, what the hell are you actually fighting for in the UK?
Yeah.
Biscuits, afternoon tea, which is okay. So that's actually kind of crappy, if you want to be honest with you.
It's like brown water. Why y'all do that?
Why y'all do that? So let all that sink in. I mean, Russia has not attacked the UK. Russia has not attacked NATO. The entire BS narrative, of course, is built on a lie, and Putin called that out directly this morning. Putin said Western leaders leading their country towards collapse over the false claim that Russia plans to attack Europe. Listen.
Хочу, чтобы меня услышали простые граждане западных государств. Вас сейчас настойчиво пытаются убедить в том, что все ваши трудности – это результат каких-то враждебных действий России, что из вашего собственного кошелька надо оплатить борьбу с мифической русской угрозой. Все это ложь. А правда в том, что текущие проблемы, с которыми сталкиваются миллионы людей на Западе, стали результатом многолетних действий правящих элит их государств. Их ошибок, близорукости и амбиций. Эти элиты думают не о том, как улучшить жизнь своих граждан в западных странах. Они одержимы своими корыстными интересами и сверхприбылями.
It's like spot on.
Show me the lie.
Yeah, show me the lie.
Where's he wrong?
Where is the evidence that he's wrong at all? We've been hearing the same line for years from Putin, by the way. Russia... we've been hearing these stories, right, from European leaders, right? Russia's about to invade Europe. Russia won't stop at Ukraine. They're heading for Paris. Russia's coming for NATO. And none of that has happened, of course. What has happened is Western economies collapsing under sanctions that backfired, energy prices exploding, manufacturing leaving Europe, as I mentioned, Volkswagen closing down, an iconic German brand, working class families being crushed right now. Oh, and not to mention the birth gap problem. Families are dying out across Europe. Maybe that's why they're bringing in so many illegal immigrants. And America, the same thing. Big decline in birth. No one can afford kids. No one can afford to buy a house. So what Russia just announced today that no Western country would ever do, they announced this. Russia plans to pay off mortgages for all families with 4 children. Proposed legislation would forgive parts of the loan after each child, wiping it entirely clean after the 4th child, all in a push to lift the birth rate. Can you imagine? Have your entire mortgage wiped out because they want you to have a family. They want to promote a nuclear family.
Do you start making money after the 5th and 6th kid?
Yeah, you'll start. It'll be like the Fed. They'll start just like printing money, sending it to your house. No, 4 kids, free mortgage. And of course, they've been doing this for years. Mm-hmm. And, it's actually been really successful. We've spoken to families who've actually lived there, know exactly what this is like and how successful this has been. And it's been really powerful. So if you have 4 or more kids, mortgage paid off. They'll reward you for it. Putin just announced this today. Could you imagine that happening anywhere in the West? No, because our politicians are more interested in telling families, hey, go kill your kids in a war, than actually have more kids and we'll take care of your family.
Now, may I add to that Russia is not a debt-based economy because they don't have a global currency and they are dealing with sanctions. So they cannot borrow their way to doing a program like this. In the United States, if we were to do that, we could print the money, which would devalue the dollar. But because Russia doesn't have that luxury, they are not going to put themselves in debt for things like this for social services. Isn't that amazing?